Moin, and a warm welcome to the most beautiful problems of all time. Here we have another problem which arose from a real game by Burasenko and Nakimaskaya. And you are white, it's your move, and you can win the game. And to be precise, you can win the game with mate in 4. So feel free to pause the video to find the solution yourself. You had the chance to pause the video, and before we dive into the solution, the king is the one we now need to put under pressure, so to speak. And this pawn, which is marked in blue here, is very, very well protected. That's why we won't really be able to break through there. But what stands out is that the pawn in front of the king is not well protected at all. And that brings us straight to the solution. The pawn is only defended by the king. And here we can neutralize the defense if we now come up with something like g6. And at first glance that makes sense. We're threatening checkmate here. And if black does nothing here, we actually win the game. But after h6, we allow black to close the position, and black can consolidate here. And yes, it should. At least not fall apart completely straight away here, even if white is still a bit better. It's much, much more direct, and more direct means that we don't need the move g6 at all, but instead we capture straight away with the queen on h7. We sacrifice our queen, and, as already mentioned, only the king was defending the pawn, so king takes h7, the only move here. And how does it continue? Now we can continue the attack with g6. The king doesn't have many options, and to be precise, he has exactly one option, because the h6 square is still controlled by the bishop, so the king has to go back to h8. And yes, how does it continue now? If we play something like h5, which is very, well, let's say logical, again, it looks like pushing the pawn forward to break open the next file. No, there we're just a bit too slow. Black can do quite a lot here to defend. Even a meaningless move like knight to d7 would work, because after h6, we always have g takes h6. And you might think that rook takes h6 should now save the position, but black can simply give back the queen here. And yes, if we just put our knight on g7 here, yes, we can just count the pieces a bit. White has a rook, bishop and bishop here. And black has a rook, 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 and 2 knights here. So, in that sense, an extra rook. And right, pawns, 3-6 against 5. Still, black has more material here. And even something like rook to h1 doesn't pose a major threat. With black, we can play rook to b8 here. If in doubt, we've also got an escape square here, but even continuing here doesn't really achieve much. We can then take the bishop, and we're simply better off with black here. That's why we'll go back a bit, namely to this position here. We can play a better move than h5. Can you find it? Feel free to pause the video again. You had the chance to pause the video and look for, after we've sacrificed our queen, it's now time to play rook to g5. Here we're setting up a rather nasty threat, namely rook to h5 and checkmate. And black has to prevent that here. And at least for now, he does that by capturing here with f, plays g5. But how does it continue? Yes, maybe you've already seen it now. We don't capture with the bishop. Of course, we capture with the pawn. And then we've got this here. Checkmate, which was inevitable. That was today's puzzle. Did you find the mate in 4? Feel free to write it in the comments. And there's still a €10 discount on all products from schachtrua.de, including this chessboard you can see in the background here. Do check it out. The link is in the video description, and I've linked you to another video as well. Feel free to click on it. It's on this site. And then I'll see you again in the next video.